Monstrums. The time is nigh. Stand ready! Lay waste to the malevolent, lest the night prevail. As the sentinel between the dark and light, I, Aprilis, herald the fall of this dusk.
I received the review code for Ys 9 just a few days ago, and I'm only around 10 hours in, so this is an initial review of my time with it so far, and I'll have a part 2 video up once I finish it. As regular viewers of my channel know, I'm a big fan of Ys 8, and so I've been eagerly anticipating playing Ys 9. From what I've played so far, it's good, but I'm not overly impressed with Ys 9, and I'll explain why in this video. I've also had the game crash on me several times, which is never fun. Let's start with the story. Adol and his friend Dogi are visiting the prison city of Balduq, when Adol is arrested and put in prison.
Okay, now that doesn't look like a warm welcome to me.
He manages to break out, and while escaping is cursed by a mysterious woman named Aprilis, and turned into a Monstrum, which makes him more powerful and gives him new abilities like double jump and a kind of grapple hook. The curse stops him from leaving the city, and so he must figure out how to remove the curse while helping the residents of the city and getting to know the other 5 Monstrums. The story so far is solid. I won't spoil it, but there have been some intriguing moments that point to further mysteries which I'm eager to see to their conclusion. For most Ys games, Adol is mute, and you have the option to choose his dialogue now and again, but for the most part his personality isn't really featured much. I always thought of him as quiet and stoic. In Ys 9, a lot more of his personality comes through in interactions with other characters. For example, when a character says they're about to embark on a challenging task, Adol smiles, which the other character remarks on. He's a bit more confident and a daredevil looking for danger. The dialogue options also have the choice of a more confident, maybe arrogant, ear to them. I like that Falcom is giving Adol a bit of a personality this time round. Hopefully we'll see that develop over future games. In terms of gameplay, if you've played Ys 8, then you'll feel right at home here. You can attack, dodge, jump, and also trigger Flash Guard or Flash Move, which is when you defend or dodge just before taking damage, and are momentarily stronger or faster. The controls feel good in battle, and outside of battle, Adol is able to traverse the city via his grappling hook, and he acquires other abilities later, like being able to run up walls or glide. As you play the game, you'll recruit the 5 other Monstrums to your party, and can swap freely between them. Hawk felt particularly great to play as. He's fast and strong with a great moveset. Battles generally take place in 3 ways. When you're in dungeons you encounter enemies, as you'd expect. At certain points in the game you travel to an alternate world called the Grimwald Nox, and basically have to undertake a tower defense minigame, where you need to protect a magic crystal from waves of enemies, kind of like in Ys 8 when you're defending the village from enemies. The third venue for battle is through the city. There are these dark objects that trigger battles with enemies. I didn't enjoy these battles that much, as they were over so quickly and didn't really fit in with exploring the city. I guess the developers wanted players to be able to undertake some combat while exploring, but it just felt out of place. I much preferred the dungeons where you're going from one battle to another, rather than stop-start encounters. The layout of the dungeons and city is much more vertical this time round, which reflects all the moves that Adol has at his disposal. So being able to run up walls or grapple onto roofs really gave a new sense to exploration, which I enjoyed. You spend time in the city of Balduq exploring it and completing tasks for the residents. The city is pretty big, and you also have a base of operations, the Dandelion Pub, where your allies are based. It's similar again in setup to Castaway Village in Ys 8. What I wasn't a fan of though was that the setup and some of the tasks you have are exactly the same as Ys 8. For example, there's a task one character gives you to explore the map, one character asks you to locate all special locations, one character asks you to cook one of each type of meal for them. These are the same things I had to do in Ys 8, and it felt a little bit unimaginative, and the justification for them was a bit sillier here. In Ys 8 you're exploring the island of Seren, which no one had visited and returned from. It made sense that you wanted to map out the island and discover key locations. That same logic doesn't really gel for a city full of people. The first key location was a fountain in the middle of a big square full of people. It didn't really feel like I was making some amazing discovery. Which brings me to one of my main problems with the game. It just feels like Ys 8 in a new setting. Don't get me wrong, the gameplay is still great, but all the systems and the way the game is set up just feels so much like Ys 8. Even the graphics and character movements feel not that far away from the previous game. Now, Ys 8 was a Vita game ported to PS4. I could forgive that it wasn't on the scale of Horizon, because it was made first for a handheld. But Ys 9 is a PS4 and PC game. It's competing with games like Final Fantasy VII and God of War, but it looks like a PS3 game. I realise it's not going for photorealistic graphics, but even compared to something like Kingdom Hearts 3, which does feel like an apt comparison, Ys 9 just doesn't really compare. It is of course better than Ys 8, but not significantly better, and given it's a console game and not a handheld game, I just expected more. Character movement in cutscenes came across as a bit awkward at times. It just didn't look as polished as a PS4 game you'd expect. Gameplay is always the most important part of a game like this, and the action and movement are good, but it's basically the same as Ys 8, but without the beautiful and intriguing island setting. Exploring underground tunnels is just not as interesting as the beaches, forests, lost city and mountains of Ys 8. I've been playing on my PS5 and I've experienced 3 crashes during Chapter 3, 2 during cutscenes and 1 during gameplay. The problem is the cutscenes cause the crash every time. Luckily I can skip the cutscenes, so that helped me get past those points. I don't know if this is because I'm playing on a PS5, but it's never a good sign to get this many crashes early on in the game. Like I said at the beginning guys, this is a good game, and I think part of my negative reaction is because I loved Ys 8 so much, and I had overly high expectations for Ys 9. I'm keen to continue playing and seeing it to its conclusion, so come back in a couple of weeks when I post my full review. So guys, let me know, have you played Ys 9? Are you excited for it? Leave a comment below, and as always, thanks for watching.